I was on my 5th day, after 4 days alone. Sure, I had briefly met some people along the way, said hello and even talked a bit, but that is not the same as having a companion. Someone to share the experience with, to discuss the route when things get tricky. It was taking its toll. And when I started out hiking on the morning of day 5, my legs felt quite a bit heavier than they should have. The climb from yesterday was probably a part of this, but I don't think that tells the whole story. As I've said countless times throughout the trip, I'm starting to feel a little bit tired in my legs, a continuing theme throughout the journey. It's always a fight within you to ignore the heaviness in your legs, to keep going when you're aching and you just feel like sitting down. But at some point you start to realize that it's more of a mental struggle than a physical one. You realize that your body can keep going, it's just your head getting in the way. After the adventures I'd been through, ascending a total of 4,300 meters and descending almost the same amount over the 112 kilometers of what had mostly been untrodden terrain, I was finally starting to feel something. A resistance within me. The strive to go forward did not come as naturally as it had done the previous days. I still had 70 kilometers with 2,000 meters of climbing to go, and from what I read about the upcoming terrain was that I had some of the most unforgiving parts left. Especially in the form of videsnor, the thick bushes growing at elevations lower than 800 meters, of which I had already been tested several times on this trip, but never quite in the fashion as on this last stretch of the journey. It was a moody morning, grey and wet. I followed Guppervagge for the last few kilometers and soon reached the branching into Alkavagge. Today was supposed to be 3 big valleys, Guppervagge, Alkavagge and Sarvesvagge. And throughout this journey, the terrain would slowly but steadily go from the easygoing grass of yesterday to the fields of videsnor that I was dreading. So it was with a bit of apprehension that I enjoyed the last grass fields as I entered Alkavagge. I knew that the end of the cruise was closing in, maybe even a bit sooner than I was hoping.
Okay, so I just got to the Alkasvagge, I think it's called. So I turned away from Guppervagge and now up in Alkasvagge, and it's just green fields as far as my eyes can see. And actually, for the first time since yesterday morning, I see 2 people ahead of me. It's been totally desolate so far. Otherwise, I think I saw 2 people yesterday coming down into Guppervagge from far. I think I could see them down below, but yeah, I haven't spoken to anyone since yesterday morning. So it's gonna be nice to see people again. Hopefully, we'll see if I catch them. But yeah, it was some rain this night, and my tent held up perfectly fine. I was a little bit worried before, but because I've had some problems with it. But yeah, it held up really nice. Everything was dry, and this morning I can see the sun again. There's some heavy clouds around me, but that's just beautiful. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I think I have some nice hiking coming up now.
I had decided to stay on the south side of Galmiokko so that I wouldn't have to ford it further downstream, where the water has accumulated from the glaciers on the southern side. Though I soon found that this was not the easy side of the valley. Namely, my side of the valley was soon overrun by videsnor and wetlands, while on the other side I could see the people I had spotted earlier walking parallel to me on what looked like nice grassy fields along the slopes of Herabakta. The previous day I had envisioned cruising down this valley on nice, effortless, beautiful grassy ground, and it was not until Sarvesvagge that I expected having to start my bushwhacking escapades. It was an unpleasant surprise, and the progress down the valley slowed to a crawl. I soon knew that this would not be the easy day that I had been hoping for, and that I would have to pull myself together and push through. It was after much swearing and stumbling that I finally started to climb up into Vagge, which gave me a welcome respite from the dense bushes. Even though climbing is something that certainly isn't easy and comes with its own physical challenges, it's also when I can just dig deep and enjoy the pain of it. So I climbed and I climbed, up to the 1175 meter high pass. The vegetation slowly turned into the more rocky ground you see as you go higher. Streams were coming down from all around the valley, congregating into a bigger stream and collectively flowing back down towards Alkavake. The clouds that had been denser in the morning were somewhat clearing up, and for a moment I thought that I could perhaps turn this around and have a nice, blissful day down on the other side.
Whew. I've been quite mentally drained today, I think. I think yesterday took a big toll on me, and also a bit physical, but mostly I'm feeling my shoulders. My left shoulder, to be precise. It's like, I don't know, I think I'm getting a bit of a chafe, I think, or something. It's been quite lonesome also, which I think also contributes to the mental drainage. I didn't see anyone almost all day yesterday, and this morning I saw two people, but they were walking on the other side of the stream. But apart from that, I haven't met anyone. There's no people in these parts of Sarek, it feels like. Yeah. But just wanted to sit down a little bit and enjoy the views. It's starting to get a little bit cold up here now, so I think I need to keep hiking. And I think my shoulder is a little bit rested now, so that's maybe perfectly good.
On my way down into Sarvesvage, I had the most stunning light. The sun was behind the clouds, but coming through with enough of a glimpse to paint the upper valley. It was spectacular, and I was reminded of Guppervage and its abundance of streams and grassy fields. But with my increasing shoulder pain, it wasn't easy to enjoy the descent. I did not know it then, but my trusted pack that had been through a couple of thousands of kilometers had finally started to wear down, and the hip belt was no longer carrying the weight, and so had slowly transformed to distribute most of the carry to my shoulders. And this was gnawing at my already struggling mind and body as I closed into the Videsnor-infested parts of the valley. I did not feel much here, probably understandable, but also quite regrettable, because there is no way that I can describe to you the struggles of going through Sarvesvage. It's not only the Videsnor that makes this valley so difficult to endure. The terrain is also quite uneven. It's a constant zigzagging, climbing and descending between large dried out streams and boggy wet marshlands. It's in between these, in the spots where you would normally find the path of least resistance, where the Videsnor come in. They occupy most of the flat surfaces in the valley, and the parts that are not covered are too wet to walk on. The lower the valley takes you, the higher the bushes become, and soon I had to fight for every meter, trying to see the gaps in the bushy tunnels where a reindeer or two might have plowed through already. And with that description, you will have to paint your own picture of going down this valley. At some point towards the end, I finally managed to find my way out onto the sandy banks around Sarvesjokko. A moment of blissful walking on the beach feeling in the evening light to sum up a beautiful day in the mountains that I maybe did not treasure as much as I should have at the moment, but that certainly grew on me afterward. It's funny that is often the case. The fact is that the experiences I have the fondest memories of are the ones where I struggle the most at the moment. Strive to overcome adversity and you will feel better for it, I presume.
Alright, I'm just sitting here and planning a little bit for tomorrow. So here's my map, and here's my living room window. Quite nice. And it's a roomy one-person living room, I would say. Pretty damn nice. I'm not sure what will happen tomorrow. We'll see how the weather is. Right now it's looking like it could be a little bit of rain, but I'm really hoping it's gonna be another sunny one. maybe it's too much to hope for. I had such good weather so far. So we'll see. If it's good weather, then I will maybe do... There's a ridge walk I might do. But otherwise, if it's bad weather, I'll probably just go past those and go towards Kvikkjokk. So we'll see. I don't have much memory card space and battery right now, so I'm hoping that I will be able to film everything that I want to film. But I will have to say good night for today anyways, because yeah, it's time to sleep. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't dream bad dreams. Sleep good sleep. Yeah, bye.
Now, as I mentioned, there was one challenge still to go, and I haven't really talked about it until now. Mostly because I did not end this trip as I originally had planned. I wanted to finish up by going from my current location at 700 meters elevation and climb all the way up to Bordersjokko just above 2000 meters. This climb would also involve a probably stunningly spectacular sort of ridge walk, traversing a couple of peaks on the way. I say probably because I did not end up doing this. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I first had to do the 700 meter climb up to Gjengjavagge, through Gaskavagge, the narrow V-shaped steep-sided valley that cuts in through the mountain range just where I was camped. I was happy to leave the greenery in the valley below, even though I was already looking back on my struggles with a sort of strange nostalgia. Starting up the climb, my progression did not get much better. Higher up, boulders were still plentiful, and combined with traversing the steep side of the valley, it was a precarious task.
I feel extremely drained today. Mostly mentally, I think. I don't know. I'm feeling tired. It's been a really tough climb up here, and then quite a steep slope on the side of this stream here. And yeah, it's been slow going, but hopefully it's gonna get a little bit easier now. I have a ford here, and then climb up a little bit onto this ridge line here, and then I can follow this ridge line for a while, and then the valley should start flattening out a little bit higher. Looks like there's some clouds up there, but it's quite clear today anyway, so it shouldn't be so bad, I think. But yeah, it's a beautiful valley at least, so I'm trying to enjoy it. I'm taking some breaks here and there and just standing looking at the view. It was really cool looking back at Sarvesvagge when I left it. It was probably my favorite valley, even though the really heavy slog yesterday. I really enjoyed it. It was super beautiful. But yeah, I'm gonna keep moving up this thing, I think, and slowly making my way up higher.
After the ford, the boulders grew to larger blocks that I clambered up along the obstacle course made by nature. It was not until the near end that I could go out on a snow field covering the stream and make my way up to the 1404 meter high pass overlooking the next valley. I was closing in on the end of my journey, and this was with conflicting feelings. I was longing to be back in civilization and share my experiences. But I was also quite hesitant about leaving Sarek behind. My second journey to this unique place had already carved out strong memories within me, and I was feeling a kind of sadness about ending the trip. I crossed the third and last bridge, and here I was, at the foot of the climb up to the ridge where I had originally planned to hike over. I had to make my final decision whether to do this thing or to shorten it and put a dot behind the word hike. The clouds were dark and the rain that had been coming and going was looming. Although this was not really a valid excuse for me any longer. But I was tired, mentally drained, and I could not muster up the strength to push myself over this one last climb. So I decided to leave it be and cut it short. I ended my trip with one last night on the slopes overlooking Porek. So that was that, my Sarek story. A journey through most of the park, with views that I will never forget. When hiking into Kvikkjokk, my memories seem to whir around me. The rain, the sunshine, the wind, the views, the fords, the glaciers, the mud, the vidsnor, the sunsets, and, above all, the absolute tranquility of the evenings. I was already sure of one thing, that I would be back here as soon as possible.